Hello, welcome back to the L1 show. It is September 9th, and we are doing space, robot, and nonsense stories.
There's so many robots and so many space.
Mostly space stories this week.
I really like our first story a lot.
NASA's Perseverance Mars rover has made oxygen 7 times in exploration milestone.
Yay! We can have breathable atmosphere.
I feel like NASA just has been killing it this year. They've had good story after good story for the most part.
I didn't even know this was happening.
Yeah, well, I didn't know. Yeah. Their press team, they release everything all at once, too. Like, back in, I think it was like December or January, we had a string of like really hyped NASA stories, and then they just don't release anything for like 6 months.
And then this thing releases a bunch of oxygen.
Yeah.
Woo!
It's like cool. They probably do, and I just don't know where it is, but like they should have a whole page. It's like, here's things we're currently doing, and then you can click on it. And
actually using
more. Resources
on the surface of another planetary body, transforming them chemically into something that would be useful for a human mission.
It's struggling to read today. We're a little out of it.
It's Friday. We're tired. It's been a long week.
We're getting ready to go into a holiday weekend here in the U.S. So,
Woo!
Well, but not now. By the time you guys see this, it'll be over. But
so much fun. So yeah, oxygen on the red planet. How cool is that?
Elon Musk would like to know your location.
Oh, I'm sure he'll be able to do whatever studying he wants because he'll probably be the one to fly it there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I bet your perspective on this story is really interesting.
An AI generated artwork won first place at a state fair fine arts competition, and artists are pissed. The category that it won in was for digital art. So it's technically digital art, but it's not got a human author. They should have a AI generated category. See, I would think.
It's one thing to feed a bunch of prompts into DALL-E or Midjourney or something like that, but it's entirely another if you did the training and you put the data set together and you did all of the other stuff, then okay. But with this AI, it's like this is...
You literally just put in some keywords. It'd be like it's as simple as doing like a Google search. Like, I don't...
It's the AI plus all of the people that help put the model and the training together are the artists.
Yeah. I mean, it's how many people did it, quote unquote, steal from to get its source imagery?
Yeah, what's the raw material like, too? Because you're going to build a house, but you had to buy the lumber from Lowe's. But, if you are the architect, then you could also get into trouble because... You're using an architect's plans without their permission necessarily to build the house.
Right.
It seems like there's some component of that going on here.
I feel like art is just becoming, like visual art anyway, is just becoming a very much outsourced sort of thing anymore.
It's also hard to figure out where they draw the line because think about Photoshop. It's like, okay, I'm going to do my digital art with Photoshop. Okay, well you probably don't need to put Adobe in the credits. But then what about Adobe's content-aware adaptive fill? It's like you start cutting things out of photos, and then you use its AI tool to fill in the back of the photo.
Yeah.
And then it's like...
Where's the line? Yeah, it seems like they should have but for this in particular, because it was just prompts, they should have an AI-generated category. This technology is so new, I understand why they didn't, but it seems like going forward, art shows are going to have to do that.
Yeah. At the same time, I was also sitting here thinking, it's like in the last show we talked about, the crapping. Oh, sorry. Ooh. We talked about the crappiness of like the Ad Age magazine and the whole industry. Meanwhile, there are people in ad agencies saying, "It's like, yeah, we need to deploy that Midjourney cluster right now and have our own, whole fleet of artists, and then it doesn't matter. It's like we don't need anybody to do. We just need to use the AI to come up with creative things, and yeah.
And it's close enough, right? They don't care.
We were already creatively bankrupt anyway.
Well, and we talked about too. This was like a week or two ago. The virtual influencers. That's how they'll do it. Everything will just be completely virtualized because that way it's unproblematic. Except when it's not, like the other story we did about the robot who was rapping and saying words it shouldn't have.
I'm imagining the episode of Star Trek The Next Generation where they accidentally created Moriarty because they said, computer create a character that's capable of defeating Data, and it created a character that was capable of defeating Data, not Sherlock Holmes. Whoops. So it's like that with AI. It's like we need to come up with, hello, computer, we need to come up with an influencer that will be charming and captivating everybody's attention.
Socially conscious, yeah.
But they're really, really interested in Toblerone. And they're going to push the Toblerone marketing.
Brand,
the Mars company agenda. Toblerone's not Mars. But there you go. Speaking of solving those kind of problems,
Engineers solve data glitch on NASA. Oh my gosh. NASA's Voyager 1.
so this was we reported on this like a year or two ago. It's like it's returning mystery errors.
Oh, yeah.
And it turns out that the malfunctioning computer may have taken over for the good computer, but we don't know why the malfunctioning computer took over for the good computer. So we know why it's happening. We're just not really sure how to fix it now. And this article explains it. It does a better job explaining why.
Just send up a crew, right? Like, you just go up there. It's easy. What's the problem?
This is the farthest man-made thing in space.
Just send up some people there. It's fine.
It will take us decades to catch up to it.
Those people didn't have lives or things that they cared about. Just send them up there to fix it.
Here's your new compute module. It'll be back soon enough as Voyager. I guess that was Voyager 6, which is fictitious, but I don't know. Also in our darkest timeline.
This is dark. Yeah, I didn't like this. French government uses AI to spot undeclared swimming pools and tax them.
Yeah, so nothing stops you in France from building a swimming pool in your backyard, and you don't have to report it, but you're supposed to. But France doesn't want to pay people to go check people's swimming pools, so they do it from space.
That is so dark.
Or, otherwise aerial photos. Yeah, they do that here too with decks.
Yeah.
So here in America, it's like you have an unsanctioned deck. It's like it's just a deck. Do I get a tax credit when the deck gets all weird and rotty and has to be taken down? No.
No.
Why would you do that? So, I don't know. This is also a pretty nice feel-good story.
This was included. I knew Ryan probably put this in here just for you. Star Trek Legends ashes will head to deep space on a Vulcan rocket.
Uhura, not just Uhura, actually, Nichelle Nichols and who played Lieutenant Uhura, and I think there was one or two others. The ashes.
Oh, really? I missed that.
Nichelle. Maybe it was. Maybe they're already there because I think Scotty went to space, and there was a little bit of a kerfuffle on that.
What a cool way to be honored, though.
Yeah, it is a really, really awesome way. There are more than a few Star Trek actors who their ashes have ended up in space, and that's cool.
That is really cool. I wonder. I hope their family got to keep some to spread here on Earth.
Yeah, no, they won't.
They won't send all. Yeah,
no, that's too much weight. Are you crazy?
It's got to be ultralight.
Yeah. This was one that we were discussing a few days ago because China opened up the dams, and it turns out it was part of a larger strategy.
China aims to make rain during dry period. This is cloud seeding. There's been quite a few stories about this. They are in a desperate drought right now. It is not good news, and they are trying to rectify that.
Yeah, they're trying to redistribute the water, and so they open up the dams. How about that? Interesting stuff.
Oh, this story wouldn't load for me. Oh, there it goes. Aardman's Shaun the sheep will soon make a real-life trip to the moon.
I don't know who Shaun the sheep is.
I also didn't know who this was. We should have sorted this with the Star Trek story.
I thought this was like Sealy or Sarda or something.
Oh, is it? Is this a brand deal? Oh.
What kind of a dark future is that where, Sealy can phone up NASA and be like, we're going to do a space mission together. And they're like, all right, what do you want to fund? And
that's what Starlink's going to be, right? It's going to be showing ads in the sky. You won't be able to see the stars anymore. That's my conspiracy theory. Level 1 predicts.
Going to space is not an easy trip, in fact. That's what it says. European Space Agency. And
is this a kid's show? Like, I missed this one, so I don't know.
Probably. Maybe it's meant to be inspirational.
Lovable character. Aardman. It must be a kid's show. I've never heard of that. If you know who that is, let us know.
I don't know. Yeah, Engagement Challenge. Is this a kid's show that we messed up on because our...
we don't spend a ton of time with children.
We definitely got a local mattress company that has a not super different...
Not dissimilar, yeah.
mascot. It's like, oh, you're counting the sheep. It's even stop motion animated.
Yeah, same. All right, this one is kind of a doom scroll. I think we're kind of in an active solar period, but huge sunspot pointed straight at Earth has developed a delta magnetic field.
If you've been following Level 1 for a long time, you know that we love to talk about the Carrington event.
Which, if you haven't watched anything about that, you should check that out.
You should go read the
terrifying.
Wikipedia article on the Carrington event.
It happened in the 1800s before we had a lot of widespread electric anything.
Yeah, and it
caused major problems with what was there. And if something that big happened again, it would cause way worse problems.
Industry would just grind to a halt because we don't even have the parts to repair our grid.
Yeah.
And
a lot of it's hardened, but not a lot of it's not as well.
Yeah, we actually, there are people that maintain the grid that do keep an eye out for space weather, and they do preemptively shut down parts of the grid and move things around unbeknownst to us to avoid problems with electromagnetic storms. There's actually a lot that goes on there. And something like this would just completely overwhelm our ability to deal with it.
Yeah, so the delta magnetic field, I think, because it's pointed right at us, if it had a large enough flare, it could cause some pretty major issues. I think it's
as it did in the 1800s.
Yeah, but I think it's at like a 5% chance. So it's pretty low. Don't freak out too much, but maybe just be aware.
5% is kind of high, actually.
Yeah, I saw some comments, people who were like, I played D&D and 5% doesn't seem like it's that high. But eventually...
Also, this was sad.
Depressing. Yeah. Man of the Hole, last of his tribe, dies in Brazil. This is from an Amazon tribe.
The last person in the Amazon tribe. He covered himself up with feathers, they think, because he knew he was dying. But
he dug his own hole, his own grave.
The rest of the tribe was killed because of resource constraints and other stuff in the 1960s.
Extraction, yeah.
Yeah, so...
He was the last one who spoke his language, didn't ever assimilate into other local communities, and just passed away. Knowledge gone.
Yeah, just definitely not a good situation.
God, it's sad.
Yeah, but the march of technology. They did once they realized that, like once Brazil, I think, which is where this was, realized it was a problem. They actually set up a preserve for him, an exclusion zone. But by then, all of his tribe had been killed except for him.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, oops, sorry. And what can you do at that point?
Anyway, this is interesting.
The Doctors Who are coming to Magic, The Gathering, all of them. It's the Doctor Who, that is.
Yeah, I was like, the Doctors Who mean like the BBC Doctor Who.
Yeah,
because they always put the little in joke in there. It's like the Doctor
Who. I think I think Ryan included this because they're also bringing Gandalf, Pippin, Merry, Aragorn, blah blah blah. Yay! The continued commercialization of all the things we love continues.
The Universes Beyond product line. Free advertising on the Level 1 show. Look at that. Everybody liked that Doctor. And that one. Where's Christopher Eccleston? Damn it! I thought he was a reasonably good Doctor. Oh well.
That's Matt Smith, right? The one on the bottom.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that Matt Smith surrounded by orcs?
I don't know. I don't watch Doctor Who. I feel like it's one of those things that it's just so far, like there's so much to catch up on.
I think that probably the first this artwork kind of reminds me of Joseph Griffith, some of his stuff, because it's just a mismatch of so many things.
It's just, ugh. Yay!
What's going on here?
That's Frodo claiming the ring.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was some sort of artifact card and something.
Oh, I'm sure it's got something with the brand, but yeah, great.
Yeah. Good Lord, $128
in these inflationary times.
You can get a reasonable graphics card for that.
You can get so many banana puddings from Buc-ee's.
Go a long way toward filling up that pool with banana pudding.
Pudding, yeah, the gold-plated one.
This is also
that you can't have in France.
Switching gears a little bit, this was kind of surprising.
Google finds inoculating people against misinformation helps blunt its power.
How do you inoculate people against misinformation?
You just don't show it to them.
No, you supply them with information that is so insane that they can't help but understand that it's misinformation. And sometimes people will still say, "Oh, really? That's surprising." Like
they just accept it with uncritically. Yeah.
Buffalo wings come from buffalo. They're tiny vestigial wings from when buffaloes flew, and you lance them off, and then ta-da, buffalo wing.
You heard it here first.
Somebody will believe that. But by hearing that, most people will, go into a mode where they're very skeptical. And so the next thing they read will be taken with a grain of salt. Whereas, if they show up to I don't know, the Seattle Times and read this, it's like, oh yeah, that sounds believable. Not so good.
Yeah.
So it's a really interesting story about that.
Social psychology of manipulating search results, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, I think we're switching into the nonsense section.
Yeah, definitely. We've kind of been in the nonsense for a little bit. A Southwest pilot threatened to turn the plane around and go home if passengers didn't stop airdropping nudes to each other. What is the world coming to? You were on a plane recently.
Yeah.
What would you have done? I guess you don't have an Apple phone, so you can't airdrop, but...
Yeah, I mean, I would have just turned my phone off. It's like, oh.
Turn off airdrops, yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to catch up on Star Trek. I was watching Lower Decks and Strange New Worlds.
Do you like them?
Strange New Worlds is surprisingly not awful. It's not.
That's a high praise.
It's not unreasonable. Lower Decks would not make any sense to anybody that wasn't completely fully read in on everything in the Star Trek franchise. It would not.
It's not
even,
newbie friendly.
It would not be a reasonable show if you didn't know literally all of the buzzwords and jargon for all of the stuff, because it is just, it's not.
Is that a good or bad thing? Like,
It's not good. It doesn't help the storytelling of the stories, or
is it? It's not. This is dense with like backstory. It's more like they turn and wink at the audience and they're like, "Hey, do you like Star Trek?" Like,
yeah, literally everything is a reference to something that happened in some random episode of Star Trek. Even going back, even like Star Trek the animated series and some of the books, and
I love that you catch on to all of them though, because you've read everything and seen everything.
It's a fun universe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but on the plane there was an episode like this where somebody had their laptop and they were trying desperately to get their AirPods to pair with their device, and for whatever reason, I was using an iPad with all of this media on it, and the iPad was like, "Are these yours?
Is this yours? Is this yours? Is this yours?" And you couldn't stop it.
Yeah, it would not go away. I don't know what they were doing on their side, but they were just losing their mind trying to get it. And I was like, "No, stop that! No." And there's no headphone jack on the iPad, so I couldn't just plug in a wire. But I would have turned off Bluetooth on my iPad and just plugged in a headphone, because they sat there for probably 10 or 15 minutes just constantly hitting the pair button.
Yeah.
And there was no way to just permanently dismiss it. It was just, "Are these yours?" No. It was like, "Stop this. It's just stop." And it was on top of the thing. It was really super annoying. So yeah, if I was a pilot and I didn't want to turn off my phone, I would be super annoyed by this.
Well, also you probably, it's non-consensual. It's flashing. So I could see being pretty pissed as well.
But if it had gone on much longer, I probably would have just, turned my iPad off. I was like, "No, screw this. I'll just sit here and quietly contemplate his existence." I don't think I would bother to turn the airplane around or whatever.
It'd just be like a high-pitched scream in the back of your head. For however many hours you're on the plane.
Yeah. It's like, "Oh, I can hear the landing gear shifting around in there. It must mean we're about to land." Yeah. Speaking of which,
Winnipeg mayor candidate gets bike stolen 85 minutes after promising to reduce bike theft.
That's how you know you've got a bike theft problem.
Wow.
Probably should have put an air tag on that, huh? And it's not even a really super awesome bike.
Yeah, it looks like a pretty standard, just like a little road bike with the basket on the front.
Oh.
Sucks to suck, my dude.
Wow. That's just...
This story is horrific.
Yeah, we can't... I don't even think we can say the first part of this because the algorithm is so keyed up to look for that. And it's like, we'll just say things made from stuff.
Wait, why is Pearl?
Oh, it's the phrase.
Oh. Necklaces made from stuff are TikTok's hottest new jewelry trend. I refuse to believe that. I don't think that. I think that's like a handful of people who are doing that. Kind of like KFC did that stupid promo where it was like gold-plated chicken bones. It's just some sort of advertising.
I remember Cooler Master. I'm still waiting on my Cooler Master fried chicken warmer. It was like, the processor runs hot. But then
we did that. Oh, we did that story years ago. I forgot about that.
Yeah, and the processors have only gotten hotter.
I don't know what they'd be advertising with this, but I'm confident that no one would wear that seriously.
So bad. So terrible.
Yeah.
This is also a glimpse of our dark future.
Ugh, a 93-year-old assisted living resident died after she was served dishwashing liquid instead of juice.
Yeah.
I assume that this woman probably not mentally all there.
San Mateo.
And was served this and drank it.
3 of our residents were recently transported to the hospital after being mistakenly served dishwashing liquid as drinking juice.
3 people? I thought it was just the one.
That's somebody that's really checked out of their job. It's like if you don't notice.
Yeah, well, because it would be viscous, like
and you like smell of it, and it's like this doesn't smell like apple juice. This smells like dishwashing liquid.
Yeah.
So again, the person who's doing this is really, really checked out, super checked out. So
that's terrible.
Yeah, but the person who also is drinking dishwashing fluid probably not really super high quality of life either.
No. Well, it's like I said, they're probably not mentally completely there anymore.
This one was also kind of funny. This is almost borderline, too hot for the thing. But,
too hot for YouTube. Yeah.
But also, so there was a law passed in Texas recently where if people donate certain things that I think we would probably say are religious artifacts, that's okay to have those in school. It's just the school can't, go out on its own and get religious artifacts and display them. But if somebody gives them to the school, that's fine. If parents give the school, whatever, that's totally okay. So some parents did.
North Texas School District rejects "In God We Trust" signs in Arabic and a rainbow.
Because they said we have enough. The problem is that the law is like, no, if somebody donates this, you have to accept
You have to display it, yeah.
That's what the law literally
says.
Also,
that's so tame. "In God We Trust" in Arabic and a rainbow. What?
Yeah, this was literally done.
There's nothing even a little offensive about that.
Things like that are signs that civil society maybe is about to break down. How can we use our technology to survive in these times where, as our fellow citizens, we don't see eye to the point that this kind of thing is used as a distraction to make us not pay attention to other more important things. Fun stuff. Oh, there's also this.
Yeah. I have no idea how to pronounce this town name. Milpitas School District asks parents to help house teachers. What if you just paid them? Are you done with that?
Yeah, what sort of a dark future is it where it's like, oh, I've got a room I can rent you, and it's like, oh, I just really want to be a teacher. I get that teaching is rewarding.
But they need to be compensated. That's you
should be able to earn a living.
The pay is tragically low for most teachers.
Yeah. And finally, we got
a couple more. This one.
But this one should be like an actual good story.
Jeff Bezos thanks Rings of Power showrunners for ignoring his notes at Lord of the Rings UK premiere. Says his son told him, please don't F this up. I haven't watched it. I don't know that I'm going to watch it. But the consensus online so far, ignoring people who are like, it's a 10 out of 10, and people who are like, it's a 1 out of 10. But the general consensus from people who just wanted to watch the show, it seems to be, this is very meh. Like a lot of people are saying it's really boring, which is really tragic because it didn't have to be this way. But so maybe it's not so much an F up so much as a bleh up.
They were so scared to do anything innovative or breaking the mold or whatever.
Yeah.
That it just became the most milquetoast thing ever.
Yeah, I heard some people saying it felt like a show designed by committee. They're like, it's visually beautiful, but extremely boring.
$60 million an episode.
That's what you get for it. It's, yeah, I don't know, but from the promo material that I've seen, the showrunners don't seem to have any sort of strong creative vision at all. Just
10% of that, we could have transformed the open source world into, but instead we have this.
Or we could have had an actually good show. Or maybe many good shows that aren't based on an existing IP.
Yeah, what imagine a show about just a typical Shire family experiencing.
If they had the rights to the appendices, they could have done the Kinstrife in Gondor. They could have done Aragorn's travels before he became king. Like, they had some stuff that they actually had the rights to, and they chose to make a story about the Second Age, which they don't have the rights to. And it shows.
I guess they don't have the rights to Tom Bombadil either, because
they would actually, because they got the TV rights for all Lord of the Rings and the appendices. So they could have done a really super faithful episodic version of Lord of the Rings, because the books really lend themselves to that episodic chapter by chapter nature, but they didn't do it. So
Why
Yeah.
is this?
you know how you were like, I'm watching Lower Decks, and I'm just like, meh. That seems to be the consensus so far on Lord of the Rings. So
You know what else Britons are meh about? Drinking recycled sewage.
yeah, understandable. Britons need to be less squeamish about drinking water from sewage, says agency head.
Coming from a country where we drink recycled sewage, you're right to be worried about
Yeah,
that.
well, and all our water is so heavily bleach flavored. When I go backpacking and I filter some water from like streams, and then I come home and I drink tap water again, it's like, oh, this is just bleach. This is 90% bleach, isn't it?
We also struggle a bit with getting the drugs out. And so
Yeah.
there is an ungodly amount of hormones and like hormone signaling stuff in the water that is,
Or just
benign,
antibiotics, yeah.
but we don't really,
Know how that's actually affecting us.
it's probably benign, but at the same time, it's like, well, this and this and this health condition may be caused by hormones being picked up from the water. So
Microplastics,
a lot of
E.
microplastics.
coli.
Yeah. And finally,
Miss England finalist becomes first in pageant history to compete without makeup.
yeah,
She's pretty. Yeah, what's the...
that was the headline.
Well, I mean, considering how heavy pageant makeup tends to be, that is sort of impressive. Like, it's heavy cake makeup for pageantry. Because you want to stand out. Because on stage makeup, when I used to be on a makeup crew when I was in high school, and our person who was supervising us, the teacher, was like, you don't go for subtlety with stage makeup.
Oh, yeah.
Because otherwise, you'll just be bleached out on stage. So you go real heavy, and I imagine pageants are not immune to that.
Well, that's good, I guess. And somebody, there's a lot of stories from England this time. Engagement challenge.
Do you have strong feelings about this?
Yeah.
That's probably good. Like I said, she's a pretty girl, so nice to actually see her face and not just makeup.
And overall, I'll say, for this week, we are heading into the fall. So there's going to be a lot of tech stories. There's going to be a lot of releases. AMD was first out the gate this week. We covered their press event. They didn't really reveal a lot, but that's only just the tip of the iceberg. They're the first mover, the first person to do the press release, but there's so much more coming, not just from AMD. And so it's going to be bananas this fall.
Things to look forward to.
Things to look forward to as perhaps the world collapses around us.
Oh, also new Bjork album out this month.
Yeah, so we'll have that. We'll all be together here. That's your one. We're your rock in the sea of chaos.
Yeah. Look forward to new tech releases and a new Bjork album.
Yeah.
That's maybe 2 different Venn diagrams, but
And probably also the return of Ryan.
yes, he should be back by next Friday. So
All right.
we should all be here next week, barring any more health crises.
Woo! We'll catch you then.
All right.